Hello friends, welcome. Friends, yesterday I spoke about the challenges that Vodafone Idea is going to face as regards their debt situation. So I will post a link of that video in the description. So if anybody has not seen it, they can go and watch that video. Today I am going to talk about other opportunities and challenges that Vodafone Idea is going to face. Now the reason I am doing this video, as everybody knows, that there is an FPO of Vodafone Idea which is already on, and a lot of excitement is there in the market, and we all would like Vodafone Idea to survive because the competitiveness of the market needs to be preserved. Now in this video we'll go step by step and talk about the opportunities, and then we are going to talk about the challenges. Now the opportunity that Vodafone Idea has in front of its business as it moves forward to consolidate its position in the market is that 5G monetization in India, especially in India, is going to be extremely difficult, and 4G is here to stay. Now friends, everybody who is watching this video must be surprised that why I am making this comment, because 5G monetization, though it has been a challenge internationally, but what I am going to tell you today is going to be more challenging than in India as far as 5G monetization is concerned, because of the regulatory and business framework that we have created around 5G deployment in India, which is a very sad situation. And because of this sad situation, Vodafone Idea is going to latch on this as an opportunity, because it will not be required to focus on 5G deployment. And it is going to be a perpetual situation for a long time to come. And you will see why I am making this point. And let's go straight to this, right? Which is why 4G is here to stay and why 5G monetization is going to be difficult. Now I have listed down the various points here. Here you will see in this chart that the basic problem in India as far as 5G deployment is concerned is absence of low frequency bands. And I have been saying this again and again. I don't know why people are not focusing on these issues, and especially the policy makers and also the operators, right? Some of the operators are, but mostly I find that this issue actually gets getting absent. There is no discussion happening on this issue. Now, why 5G requires low frequency band? Because it's kind of a very contradictory kind of situation, or a kind of, you can say, a paradox, that whenever we talk about 5G, we are talking about high speeds, right? Especially about data at very high speeds. So 5G is directly seen as a service which is synonymous to high speed, right? That's what everybody understands about 5G. But if I tell you that high speed is not the primary reason how which the monetization of 5G will happen, it is not the key reason, because speed as far as mobile devices are concerned is immaterial. Let me give you an example. Let's say if you have created a highway of 6 lanes, right? And 6 lane, by the way, in India is a pretty decent highway, right? Then if I tell you that let's create a 100-lane highway, okay? Will it serve any purpose in India, right? So 100-lane highway means that there will be so many lanes which you will never be able to, utilize and monetize. It's going to be a complete waste. 5G is a similar situation, because where the requirement is, right, that is on the roads which are leading to the highway, those roads are narrow, and highway is huge, right? So highway is a 100-lane highway, but the lanes which are leading to the highways may not be even of a width of a single lane, right? So why I'm making this point? I'm making this point is because most people use mobile phones while they are inside their house or they are working in their office, right? So that's where the mobile devices are used. Now, in these areas where you are going to use mobile devices, which is 90% of your time, 5G coverage is virtually absent. There is no 5G coverage because 5G has been deployed primarily in high frequency. And whatever frequency, in one operator has deployed 5G in low frequency also, but that capacity is not good enough for 5G to even serve any meaningful purpose. And I'll explain why I'm making that point. 5G needs at least 25 to 30 megahertz of spectrum in a sub-gigahertz band. 10 megahertz is not sufficient for a meaningful deployment of 5G in low frequency band, right? And you need low frequency band in order to do voice, 5G voice, which is called NR voice. For that you need a standalone 5G network. So there is one operator in India which actually has the capability to do NR voice, okay, which is in the 700 megahertz band, but unfortunately that operator has only 10 megahertz of spectrum. Now 10 megahertz of spectrum is not sufficient to cater for both voice and data, right? As we have seen in 4G. So let's say if you are going to deploy NR voice, which is extremely important by the way, because 4G voice is congested, and you would like, let's say if I am on 5G and I am natively on 5G and I don't want to be on 4G, I want to use 5G for voice as well as data. Now if I am within the house and only 10 megahertz of spectrum, right, in the low frequency band, what purpose it will serve? Right, it will not serve purpose because that spectrum will be used for data as well as spectrum will be used for voice as well. And those operators who do not have low frequency band, they will not be able to deploy 5G voice. So if they are not going to deploy 5G voice, so they will be continue to use 4G voice, because unless you have a standalone 5G network, which can only happen if you have a low frequency band and a pan-India coverage, carpet to carpet, and you cannot rely on your 4G coverage. You have to have a standalone 5G separate network, a low frequency network with adequate capacity in the low frequency band. Then only you will be able to do what? NR voice. Otherwise, you will never be able to do 5G voice. You will continue to do 4G voice, and 5G is going to be used for what? Data. Now data is not available inside the house. It is going to be outside the house all the time. You are not going to be sitting on a tree and browsing internet or using your mobile application. So you have created a huge highway, but the roads leading to the highway is very, very small. So it doesn't really serve any purpose. So that is the basic fundamental problem in India as far as 5G is concerned. Poor indoor coverage, poor indoor capacity, lack of voice, no NR voice. Even if you do NR voice, the spectrum in the low frequency band which is catering to 5G is only 10 megahertz, and that too with no roadmap to get additional spectrum, which I am going to show you why there is no roadmap for that operator to get additional spectrum and make it to 15 megahertz or 20 megahertz. 5G is only for data, right? And reliance has to be on 4G. Reliance means you have to rely on 4G in order to do voice, right? As well as data in areas where there is no coverage as far as 5G is concerned. Access to crucial sub-gigahertz 5G spectrum has been blocked. I'm going to show you why I'm making that. FWA, which is considered to be a killer application for 5G in India, is also going to face challenge because mostly operators are going to be focused on 3.5 gigahertz band. And why I'm making this point is because deploying 5G in 26 gigahertz band or millimeter band is going to be a huge challenge, because today the total number of towers have not increased. I have shown you in one of the videos that the tower numbers has remained largely constant. 5G has been deployed only in those areas or those locations where 4G has already been deployed. So it's like, a same location 5G got deployed where 4G already exists, and not in all the locations. So therefore, you need much more number of additional tower in order to do a deployment in 26 gigahertz band, which is not going to be possible because today operators are not focused in increasing the number of the tower density, which is much needed requirement in order to do 26 gigahertz band. And then the most important thing, that to monetize 5G, not only you need voice, you need application at the handset level. You cannot be dependent on FWAs. because FWAs, as I told you, will get limited by the capacity of the 3.5 gigahertz band, which is just 130 megahertz. You need gigahertz of spectrum in order to support broadband connectivity, and then the volume of people who will be locking into FWA will be very, very less. The number of people who will be using mobile phone is exponentially going to be higher, and there will be opportunity to monetize on mobile phone is a larger opportunity than FWA from the point of view of reaching the consumers. Now, why you cannot do network slicing of 5G in handset level in India? You will find it very, very surprising if I tell you this. The reason you cannot do it is because of the fact of the net neutrality rules. It's a regulatory problem. Now, regulatory problem, why it is going to become so important? The reason is that in order to get away from the regulatory problem and in order to convince the regulator, you have to make a very important point. You have to basically say that, look, I have sufficient amount of capacity at the handset level to able to do 5G network slicing. Now, today you have got only 10 megahertz, only one operator. The other operator does not have low frequency band. Because in order for you to do network slicing, you have to reach the consumer inside your house. You cannot rely on Wi-Fi network. As well as within the office where 90% of the population is going to be residing all the time. Now you have got only 10 megahertz, which is the spectrum which is really penetrating indoors. Now the 10 megahertz, if you are going to block 50% of the spectrum for network slicing, where you will not be able to support best effort internet, then those people who will be relying on best effort internet is going to be shouting at the top of the voice, going and complaining to the operator saying that, look, this is basically called fast, you are basically creating fast lanes within your 5G spectrum, and you are basically constraining the access to the best effort part of the spectrum and limiting into a very short pipe and using all the other spectrum for fast lanes, because you need to do network managed traffic in order to support networks level slicing. So then everybody will start complaining, because he say you cannot constrain the best effort traffic to move within the 5G network. You may be able to create additional capacity. You need to additional spectrum to create that capacity, but you cannot constrain. So that is another problem. Now let me tell you why I am basically saying that 5G is going to have a huge problem to get additional low frequency band. Now let's go to the 700 megahertz band plan, and I'll tell you why 700 megahertz there will be no additional spectrum available going forward. Now this part, if you look at the 700 megahertz band, this band starts from 703 and ends at this particular point, which is 745. Now if you see this block of spectrum, which is 10 megahertz, is already with government. This block of spectrum 10 megahertz which already with railways. This block costs 10 megahertz with Geo. This is with BSNL. BSNL is doing 4G, and this is going to go to railways. There is already a consultation on, and they are basically going to give this spectrum, the 5 megahertz spectrum, to railways. Now Reliance Jio is going to have only 10 megahertz, and they are going to be completely blocked to get any additional spectrum. Now this is a problem because you can't get 5G and expand your 5G low frequency spectrum band by getting additional, by aggregating spectrum from 800 megahertz band, because the problem is that the 700 and 800 megahertz spectrum are distinct, and when you try to aggregate 10 megahertz of spectrum from 700 with additional 10 megahertz which Reliance has in 800, this is going to depress the coverage because of the loss is going to happen in the duplexer. And that is not advisable. Nobody does it. It creates a lot of complication. It will shrink the coverage of the network, and therefore there will be no advantage of doing 5G in the low frequency band, because there could be a loss of as high as 2 dB. 2 dB, 3 dB means half, 50% loss. 2 dB loss means there will be a 60% loss of around 60% coverage, 40% loss of coverage in the low frequency band, which is not advisable. Then there is an 800 megahertz band which is available. This spectrum is available. Now somebody may say that, oh, let's Bharti get this band 800. There are a lot of spectrum available, and let Bharti also do 5G in 800 megahertz band. But Bharti will find it impossible to get 800 megahertz band. The reason is that the auction rules are created in such a way that when Bharti bids for 800 megahertz band, Reliance Jio will be able to bid for a smaller chunk, 1.25 megahertz. So for example, AP Bharti you have to bid for full 10 megahertz, Reliance Jio is going to bid for 1.5 because Bharti cannot bid anything less. Then what will happen is that Reliance Jio will outbid Bharti because Reliance Jio's bid is going to be how much? 1/8 of Bharti's bid. And therefore Bharti, even if we try very hard and if Reliance Jio keeps on bidding, Bharti will be outbidded and Bharti will never be able to get any spectrum in 800 megahertz band. Now come to 900 megahertz spectrum band. Look at the 900 megahertz spectrum band. You will find that 900 megahertz is a mess. Here BSNL is there, here Railways is there, Bharti is there, but it doesn't have a huge amount of spectrum because it has to do both 4G as well as 5G. It can't do it. Vodafone, look at Vodafone's opportunity, which I already explained to you yesterday, that if Vodafone can completely get rid of 5G, it can use the full spectrum for 4G, which is a huge opportunity because it has got a lot of spectrum in important circles. So that's the opportunity of Vodafone, right? Now coming to the opportunity to good quality sub-gigahertz spectrum for 4G, which I explained here in this chart. Vodafone has very good quality sub-gigahertz spectrum for 4G, which is 900 megahertz band, and lot of very important circle, very very large quantum of spectrum, 10 megahertz, 11.8 megahertz in Gujarat, Karnataka, Vodafone has 5 megahertz, Karnataka they have less, Kerala they have 12.4, Kolkata they have 7 megahertz, Maharashtra they have 14 megahertz, Mumbai they have got 11 megahertz, and they have really good amount of spectrum, very important circles like Delhi they have got 10 megahertz. So this is the opportunity for Vodafone. Now coming to the opportunity 3. Vodafone is focused only in the important circle. Those circles which I marked star here, you will find that these are the non-important circle for Vodafone and less revenue generating circles. So you will find that Vodafone's urban as well as rural APGR distribution in these circles are low, right? You see that they are all red. So Vodafone has been focusing all their energy in high revenue circles. Now coming to the challenge. Now it is the opportunity part is over. Now coming to the challenge. The biggest challenge that Vodafone has, which is captured in this chart. What is this chart? This chart is basically list out the total 5G base station and towers. So if you see here, total base station including 5G as well as towers. So if you look at the top part of the chart, this is the total base station in lakhs, which has been reported by Bharti in their statement, annual statement, quarterly statement. So as of date on 31st December, Bharti has got 9.06 lakhs base station 4G and 3G. Vodafone has 4.39 lakhs base station 4G and 3G. BSNL has around 2.12 lakh base station, and Reliance Jio is an extrapolation because we don't have the exact number, 13.22 lakhs base station. Now, as far as 5G base station is concerned, I am extrapolated that Bharti has around 1 lakh base station, Vodafone 0, BSNL 0, RGO around 3.36 lakh base station, and the grand total of 5G BTS is 4.36 lakhs. Now, the point which I am basically trying to say is that look at a tower location, because base station is fine. The most important thing is tower location, and let's focus only on 4G. So you will find that Bharti has got around 3.08 lakh towers location. Now Vodafone has 1.83 lakh, substantially low number of towers. So this comes out to be around how much? 1.83 divided by 3.08, which is around 60% of Bharti's towers. So this is the challenge. How Vodafone is going to deal with their 4G tower location? They have to enhance their 4G tower in order to prevent loss of subscribers, which is happening because of this. Because as the customer is moving from 2G to 4G, it is not able to find Vodafone's network, right? So how it is going to happen? So what I have done is I created some framework. It's very difficult, by the way, to analyze that how much extra Vodafone has to deploy additional towers in order to prevent further churn of subscribers. Now this is an Excel sheet which I have done. I do not know whether it is the right metric to use, but I have tried my level best to do this. So I'll explain to you what I have done here. I actually have able to extract the area information circle wise, and this is based on the 2011 census. Now 2011 census or 2024 census, the area will not change, okay? So the area will remain same on a circle basis. So what I've done is that when I calculated area, I have subtracted the wastelands. So I have the area in square kilometers in all the circles. So the total square kilometer of area of India is here. So the area distribution I have calculated here, if you see, on a percentage basis, right? And then I have the population distribution here, right? Which I have calculated on a percent, because I know the population map to the LSS. So that I have calculated. Then I have created another metric. And what is this metric? This is what I have done myself. You have to tell whether I have done it right or not. I have simply multiplied the area distribution with the population distribution, because you need to take care of both the metric in order to determine where you have to put base station. You can't be just carried away by area where there is no population. What is the point? So in order to give both the weights, I have just simply multiplied. So I created another weight which is called area distribution multiplied by population distribution. So this will not add to 100% initially. It is adding to 0.07 something if you add. So I have to normalize this in order to make it effective. So what I have done is that I have basically created a calculation, this divided by this. So I basically have done a percentage calculation to create 100% for this weight, new weight which I have created. Then I have created another metric which is the revenue. I call it the revenue affinity of a particular operator for a particular circle. For example, I know the APGR distribution of Bharti, right, across all the circles. Similarly, RGO, I know the APGR distribution across circles. Vodafone Idea also I know, and Total also I know. So what I've done is that I have divided the individual circle APGR, like if you look at this formula, so I have divided, let's say, AP to the maximum circles APGR, which gives me an affinity that what is the affinity of Bharti towards AP compared to the circle which is maximum, which is Maharashtra, right? So Maharashtra is 1, so Bharti's affinity towards with AP is 0.4 times that of Maharashtra. So that's another metric which I have created. So this metric, why this metric is important, similarly I have done for RGO, similarly done for Vodafone and Total also. Why this metric is important? Because by doing a sum product of this metric, which is calling column M, which I showed you right now, with this metric, I created another metric which is 0.69, which is a pan-India reference, because I know the tower number on a pan-India basis. I don't know it on a circle basis. So I have basically created a number which you can call it anything. I do not know what to call this number. So this number is what? This is a sum product of this and this. So this gives me a reference that on a pan-India basis, this is the metric Bharti has. And if you compare with Reliance Jio, this Reliance Jio number also comes out to be similar in nature, right? But Vodafone Idea's number comes out to be 0.37. And the pan-India number is 0.57. So what I am assuming that Vodafone Idea at least have to be at this pan-India number, if not at par with Bharti. So how much short Vodafone Idea is compared to this pan-India number? If you do this is going to be how much? This is 0.37 divided by 0.57. So it is 65%. So 65% means that if you look at this number, this is 65% of the total towers location that Vodafone Idea needs, which means that if I divided this 1.3 by 0.65, this comes out to be on 2.81. So at least 2.81 lakh tower location Vodafone Idea will need in order to create a network which will be compelling and it will prevent churn and protect its revenue. Now these numbers can change here and there because I have used a metric and somebody may say that this metric is completely wrong. That is fine. But the fact of the matter is that 1.83 lakh tower location is not sufficient. What is this number? Whether this number is 2 lakh, whether it is 2.5 lakh, you have to decide. I don't know. I have given you a metric to decide to make the calculation. So you can have your own way of calculating it. And this is basically very, very crucial. Apart from the debt, apart from other things, this is crucial. This is one of the most important challenges the Vodafone Idea has to deal with as regarding protecting its revenue and ensuring that they are able to sustain their customers and not prevent any further churn. As regards 5G is concerned, it's good news for Vodafone, right? Because 5G is a completely gone case. We have destroyed 5G's potential in India by killing the low frequency band. The more low frequency band is the most important band. I do not know why people think that 5G deployment in India has been done. No, we need at least 25 to 30 megahertz per operator in low frequency band. And we have spoiled the 700 megahertz band completely by destroying this band, giving it to PSUs who will not be able to use their spectrum more effectively. 600 megahertz band is out of auction, and 800 megahertz band, which is lying vacant, BSNL should have been given 800 megahertz band, and they could have done 4G in 800 and left the 700 megahertz band for Reliance to grow and go to at least 20 megahertz of 5G spectrum. That would have been a much better situation and win-win situation for India and its consumer, right? Anyway, friends, thanks for your time. I'm going to close here and I'll come back to you, and I hope that you find this video useful. I'll come back to you next time with a new video. Thank you very much.